What actually happens if you walk away from your estate agent mid-contract? Well, if you're weeks in with barely any viewings and nothing but excuses, you're probably already wondering. The problem is, most estate agent contracts lock you in for 3 to 6 months. But in this video, I'll show you 3 ways to get out properly. Plan A gets you out of contract quickly and cleanly. Plan B keeps momentum going. And Plan C is the nuclear option that always works, no matter what your contract says. Now, first, to be clear, changing agents isn't always the answer. If the market is slow or the property's niche or your price is off, a new agent won't fix that. So do this quick 20-30 second check first. And if you still think switching makes sense, I'll show you plan A. So this is the check. If the service is good, meaning they call you, they give real buyer feedback, you can see that they're working for you, then even if viewings are slow, it might be worth sticking it out a bit longer or adjusting your price. But if the service is bad, so maybe you're 6 or 8 weeks in, you're getting no updates, no returned calls, vague excuses, or God forbid, they're just emailing you Rightmove stats every week, then you've got poor service and poor results, and that rarely turns around. And so trying to get out of contract may make the most sense. So if that sounds like you, then how do you get out of this contract? Well, let's go to plan A. This is the clean exit most sellers don't realize they can get. So here's how I think about this. If you've ever had to send food back at a restaurant, you don't just kind of erupt out of nowhere and start shouting at the waiter. You kind of discreetly say, look, there's a hair in my food. Can I get a fresh plate, please? And you hope they'll deal with it and maybe take money off the bill or something. That's kind of the approach that we're taking here in plan A. And just so you know, we're going to do all of this via email, so no awkward phone calls. So first, I'll walk you through the gist of this email, then I'll give you a template you can actually use, right? So step number 1 is what I kind of call the fairness email. We're not aggressive, we're not confrontational, we're appealing to their sense of fairness and to their reputation as well. And here's the gist of what you'll be saying. So it's like, look, I followed your advice, it hasn't worked. Been disappointed with a few other bits of the service as well, and so I lost confidence. I don't think it's fair to keep me locked in, so I'd like to cancel and move on. That's the gist of it. And we will inject in some specifics to kind of bring it to life and make it relevant to your situation. So the first thing that we talk about is the lack of results. So for example, a lot of common ones that might be relevant in your situation that I hear is like, I followed your advice and priced it the way you told me. I reduced it when you told me to as well, but we've had very few viewings. Most of those who did view weren't qualified. The only offer we had was nowhere near. Maybe you've had a sale fall through as well, and that knocked your confidence in them as well. So include that. And so we're outlining the lack of results that we've had. Next, we layer in any kind of disappointments we've had about the service side of things. So for example, I've found communication quite limited. I haven't had proactive updates. Sometimes I've tried to get hold of you, but no one's called me back. I've not felt reassured when I've dealt with some people on the team. It's this sort of stuff that we're adding here. Next, we then bring it back to your situation and the pressure that you are under. This is a really important part of the email. We're saying this sale is really important to me. The time is really important to me. I really need to move on. And I've just lost confidence that you're the people to make it happen. And in light of everything, I can't stay with you another X number of weeks. After that, you say your request. And you say, I'm happy to give you 2 weeks notice, hopefully to make something happen. But in the meantime, I need to make new plans, start moving on. And then finally, we be clear about what we actually want them to do in response. So we say, I'm sorry it hasn't worked out, but I'd appreciate if you'd reply with your agreement to this, and hopefully we can get something done in the next couple of weeks. That's how I approach this. Now, I listed a lot of stuff there, but again, it's in this template that I provided for you. Not all of the parts that I've just run through are going to be relevant, but you can kind of pick and mix it to make it relevant to your situation. Those are the types of complaints I often hear or hear the most. But notice the tone that we've used in that email. It's calm, it's reasonable, it's fair. We're not attacking them. We're giving them a way out, and we're appealing a bit to what's going on behind the scenes as well. So estate agents care a lot about their local reputation. They have to. They don't want bad reviews or complaints or unhappy sellers talking about them. And if you are able to present a case that's kind of hard to argue with, then surprisingly often is that if it is a bad look on them, they will often just let you go quietly. And the 2 weeks notice that we mentioned there as well helps our case as well, because we're not saying I'm pulling out today. We're being very fair and actually giving them a final shot, and that makes it much easier for them to agree to. Now, what happens if they say no? Well, back to the restaurant analogy. Imagine if the waiter told you, oh, there's hair in the food. Well, just take it out. We're not getting you a new one. Well, if that happened, you'd probably be a bit less discreet in the next round of your complaint, and you might make more of a demand to get a new one. And that's what we do here. So let's say your agent comes back and says, no, you signed the contract, it's 2 more months, we're not cancelling it. So now we send a second email. This is the kind of fiery one. And essentially it's the same points we made before, but now we aren't pulling our punches. We are firmer and more direct. It's the kind of no more Mr. Nice Guy version. There is a quick distinction to draw though. This starts to feel closer to a formal complaint, but it's not. Right? For me, I don't want to get dragged into a formal weeks-long corporate complaints procedure. I want a human to make a reasonable decision in the next 24 hours. And the thing I'll say before I run through an example is only do this bit if they have actually really let you down, right? I hear some awful stories about agents. If yours hasn't been awful, if you aren't actually angry at them, then don't do this. It won't work. And if they read it, they'll think you're being unreasonable. So just move on to the next step. Otherwise, if you do feel really aggrieved at how things have gone, then this is kind of how the tone becomes for this email. So it's more like, I'm really disappointed with how this has been handled. Here's all your shortcomings. Here's how you've not done what you told me you would do. I would not have signed up with you had I known this was how it would have gone. We've got no meaningful results. And I think the idea of holding me into the contract, given your promises and subsequent performance and service level I've had, is insane and insulting. Like, that's more the tone here, and it's many of the same points we said before. The guns are kind of blazing a bit. We obviously don't, and something I think about here, like, we obviously don't want it to come to this. Like me, you probably aren't like a combative person, but we reach this point because they are being unreasonable. We've tried the nice way. They're holding this contract over us still, and in that situation, the only answer I know of is the only answer that has worked for us to get towards the result we want is escalating. And in my experience, this kind of more fiery email is the best way to do it. So assuming they have been bad and we're kind of letting the guns blaze a bit, and we want them, the aim of this is we want them thinking like, oh God, this person could be, a bad review for us, or a ton of bad word of mouth, or a formal complaint, property ombudsman. That's kind of what we want them to start feeling. And remember as well, this probably isn't coming out of the blue for them. Chances are, if you are this frustrated at them, they probably know deep down they haven't done a great job. They probably know that they overvalue properties. They probably know they don't call their customers often enough and that their contract's unfair. And so they kind of end up thinking like, this person's in the right and we'd rather this stayed quiet. So let's just let him go. So that's the 2 steps in plan A. And in my experience, it works more often than you think. I'm actually now more surprised when agents come back and won't agree to stuff. Now, it is time consuming writing these emails and kind of getting the balance and the voice right and things. But in the description, you'll find a link to a couple of templates I've put together for you. You can just hit the link and I'll email it right over to you. It will save you a ton of time, boost your chances of all of this working out. And as always, this is totally free. It's kind of my gift to you. So I hope you find it useful. Now, if that doesn't work and they say, don't care, we got a contract, we're holding you to it, then we move on to plan B. So in a nutshell here, if we can't leave this agent for another, then we'll just bring another agent on board and have 2. So this is called dual agency. And so here, both agents will work on the sale, and whoever gets the buyer gets the fee. The other one gets nothing. That's how this works. The benefits here. So first of all, it gives us the fresh start we want. We'll get a new agent on board. We'll get a new valuation to see if price was the problem, a new opinion on why it hadn't sold before and what needs to change. We get access to new buyers that this agent can proactively reach out to, buyers from their database and who they will have the opportunity to cross-sell to while doing their other viewings. And so the nice thing here is we get to move on despite the previous agent not cutting the contract. There are a couple of downsides though. So one is fees are usually more expensive with dual agent. The reason is because the agents only have a 50-50 chance each of selling it, they'll often want a higher reward if they do. Now, for me personally, I really feel it's worth the money. I was looking recently, I paid over £500,000 in estate agent fees. I could have saved a lot by using cheap online agents or by not doing dual agent, but actually I firmly believe it's made me more money than it cost me by having the best agents for the job and having them compete for the fee and things. And so if you do see a higher price tag for dual agency, personally, I've seen it to be worth the investment. The other downside, though, you are still technically working with an agent you've lost confidence in. You know, if you're going to go to the effort of doing dual agent, then having 2 new agents would be better. That's why this is plan B and not kind of a perfect option. And the other thing, finally, not all agents will allow this. Some won't flip it to a dual agency model. And the new agent you want to move on to as well might not agree to dual agent. It's less common, but it can happen. And so if this doesn't work either, that's why we have plan C. So this is our kind of last resort, as somewhat kind of nuclear option, if you will, but it's 100% success rate. It's never failed. It can't fail. But first thing here, kind of caveat, I can't give you legal advice. I can't give you financial advice. I've not seen your contract. So please check it carefully so that you're clear on the implications if you decide to try and follow this path. You've got to make your own decision with it. That is my compulsory disclaimer. One quick thing I'll say, if you have got an agent contract that's like 5 pages of horrible kind of legal speak, then a great place to start is actually just to upload this into an AI like ChatGPT or something and ask about it there. No, it's not a solicitor, but it can be a great place to start helping you interpret the agreement this agent signed you into. So, situation, you're stuck in this contract, they're keeping you in it, they won't even let you do dual agent, or you just don't want to. What next? Well, the restriction that contract is creating is that it's saying you can't sell the property anywhere but through them until the contract runs out. And the penalty is that if you do, they will still want their full fee, even though they've not sold it. And so plan C, if you really want to move on and get away from these guys and they aren't letting you, just move on anyway. The downside here is that you accept that it means you'll pay their fee as well if you find a buyer before their contract's up. Now, to be clear, I don't love this option. It's horrible paying estate agent fees. It's even worse paying estate agents for specifically not doing the job that they were meant to. But if you really want to sell fast and if you've really lost faith in this agent to help you do it, then here's why I actually think this option isn't as crazy as it kind of first seems. So there's a good chance you probably reduced your asking price once already, maybe twice to get to this stage. And your agent might be pushing you to reduce the price again. Often these price reductions add up to 5 or 10% of your property's original price. So if the agent's fee is 1 or 1.5%, it's kind of a drop in the ocean compared to the amounts getting slashed off the price. The other way to think about it is some people who want to sell really fast will go to house buying companies like a We Buy Any House type thing. These companies pay 80% of the market value, so they lose 20% in order to sell fast. So if you think that the key to selling more quickly and getting on with the process is getting away from your current agent, a tax of kind of 1 or 1.5%, I don't necessarily think that you're crazy for doing it. And so the kind of other kind of bonus round for this one as well that's worth a try is suggesting a settlement, right? So if you've got to this stage, you've probably had some uncomfortable conversations with this agent or exchanges via email, and it might feel a bit like the bridges of collaboration are kind of burnt a bit anyway. And so you can kind of use that and say, look, I don't feel comfortable keep working together. I'm not happy you're holding me into this contract, given everything I've said so far. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move on and find a different agent. And if they sell during your contract, I will still pay you because you're holding this contract over me. But I'm only prepared to pay half your fee. I'm really not happy about it, but I'll agree that because I need to move on. So please reply to confirm in writing that if I find a buyer through another agent during your contract, I'll pay you half your fee. And then we can cut ties today. I can move on and you're still going to get paid if I sell within your contract. That's how I would present that. If they go for it, it can soften the blow a little bit and halve the cost of this. Again, still not ideal. I don't love this option, but it has 100% success rate. They literally can't stop you if you're prepared to foot the bill. And I know for some sellers who really do want to get things done quick and have really lost faith in their agent doing it, it can be reassuring at least to know that you have this option if you really want it. So we've got 3 ways out. We'll do a quick 20-second recap. Then there's one thing I want to give you that will help you with whatever you do next from here. So plan A, we said ask to leave fairly and politely first, and then firmly and fiery if needed. And this often works better than you'd expect. And there's a link to my email templates in the description below that should help. Plan B is we bring in another agent, dual agent, fresh energy, fresh approach, bit more expensive, but means you can move on right away. And plan C, if none of the above works, move on anyway. And we try and negotiate a lower hit on the fee. It's not ideal, but it's the last resort and a guaranteed option just for those people who really want to sell fast, really frustrated the agent and prepared to take a hit to hopefully sell faster with the next agent. So this freebie I wanted to share, if your first agent hasn't worked out, they might have been the wrong choice all along. And that often happens because the standard advice about how to choose the best agent for your sale is completely wrong. So the last thing you want is to kind of end up in the same situation with the next agent another 2 months down the line. So what I've done is a while ago, I put together a workshop about setting up your sale from the start, how to sell fast and for full value. And there's a segment in there about choosing the right estate agent for your home. It's a really important part of the process. I've personally worked with over 1,000 estate agents at this point. I believe we've got very good at figuring out who's most likely to perform on a given property. And the segment about how we find that agent, it's about 10 or 15 minutes. I walk through our 3-step agent selection process. It includes a live demo as well. So it's really worth taking a look. Link is in the description below, and it will help you get the right one second time around. And final thing, if you want to avoid personally dealing with agents altogether, we have a service, our accelerated sales service, where we'll manage the whole sale for you. It's faster, get full value for your home, way less stress for you. The catch is we are more expensive, so it is not for everyone. But link is below if you want to take a look and have my team and I sell your home for you. So thank you for watching. I hope this has been helpful. Wishing you the best of luck with your sale moving forward.